West Bank. How have they reached the West Bank? It's irrational to say anything about Egypt. They are well aware of the sources of the arms smuggling from the other side. I'm not going, and I don't like to elaborate on this line, but we have complete information about the sources of smuggling. Once again, the Egyptian position is clear. It seems that terrorism is something that we have had to face. Nobody could minimize the role played by Egypt in fighting terrorism. Every lie is possible to prove its insignificance. As good journalists, we need to take care to what's going on the ground, to the realities.
Our dear viewers, that was a joint press conference for Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdel-Aty and his Danish counterpart, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration and Egyptian Expatriate Affairs, Badr Abdel-Aty, received his Danish counterpart, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, at El Tahrir Palace. The two sides held talks that ended with a joint press conference. Addressing the press conference, Foreign Minister Abdel-Aty said President Sisi discussed with the Danish Foreign Minister a number of regional and international issues of common concern. Dr. Abdel-Aty also said that he agreed with the Danish counterpart on boosting trade between Egypt and Denmark through the Danish company's investments in Egypt. Abdel-Aty also pointed that both sides agreed on means of supporting Egypt to be a key center of renewable energy. The two sides also discussed many issues of concern, like the latest developments on the Gaza issue and the Egyptian stance regarding that very critical situation in the Gaza Strip. Also, the situation in the region, as the Danish foreign minister said, is quite critical, and indeed it has a very alarming repercussion on the whole region. The Danish foreign minister also thanked the foreign minister of Egypt for receiving him and for continued their strong bilateral relations, and they discussed also many issues of concern for both countries. Also, the two foreign ministers discussed the issue of climate change, as well as Foreign Minister Abdel-Aty said that they discussed issues of eradicating terrorism and of course, illegal immigration, that Egypt did indeed play a very important role in fighting and containing this very serious phenomenon which have been taking place for years, and now it was contained to a great extent due to the Egyptian effort. Also, Foreign Minister Abdel-Aty said that the two top diplomats tackled the support for the Palestinians to establish their independent state and to allow aid without any restrictions. And they also tackled the necessity of Gaza ceasefire and tackling regional tension, which is indeed having its repercussion on the navigation in the Red Sea as well, which is affecting Egypt to a great extent. The violence in the Red Sea is affecting Egypt to a great extent, and Egypt almost is the most affected country from the violence in the Red Sea. Also, the Danish foreign minister said that we are aiming to push the support to Egypt and to deepen the bilateral ties, and he said that the Danish companies are targeting to increase their investment in Egypt, And he hailed Egyptian continuous efforts to reach this and to continue the mutual help and mutual cooperation in different domains. The Danish foreign minister, back to the Gaza issue, said that he is looking forward to visiting the Rafah border crossing and to see the humanitarian situation there on the ground. And for his part, the foreign minister of Egypt, Dr. Badr Abdel Ati, said that Egypt is completely rejecting Netanyahu's recent declaration, and that is indeed a very important thing for Egypt. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Midhat El-Meligi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon.
Hello, sir. Sir, how do you see the importance of such a visit by the Danish foreign minister to Egypt, and the most important files that were tackled during the talks between the two top diplomats?
Well, I think it's very important to consolidate the relations between Egypt and many of the states of the European Union, since Denmark is one major player in this. Actually, I served myself as head of mission in Copenhagen, so I know that the Danish government is usually trying to be as much as fair regarding the Palestinian rights, and many Palestinians are actually living as refugees in Denmark. However, what I think that we still need to do, and they still need to do, is to take solid and concrete steps towards the Israeli genocide that is taking place there. I mean, we have to receive, and we have to get serious and real condemnation to the actions of Israel, which unfortunately Denmark so far failed to do. So we hope that with explaining more of the facts that is happening on the ground, that Denmark will take concrete steps towards condemning the Israeli genocide right now.
Indeed. Also, the Danish foreign minister expressed his eagerness to visit, as he's visiting tomorrow, the Rafah border crossing. He's eager to this visit and to see the humanitarian situation on the ground. How do you see the significance of such a visit by the Danish foreign minister to the Rafah border crossing, sir?
Well, it's one good step on the way. However, I mean, let's be clear on this. Egypt have actually so far contributed for over 80% of any aid that is going inside Rafah, if any at all, because of the Israeli obstacles towards the humanitarian aid that is going inside the Gaza border. But actually, what I think is more needed, even with those actions that, although with all due respect, they are quite important, but they are not up to our expectations. We are hoping for concrete steps towards Israel, more than just trying to help the Palestinians without providing them with the political coverage that they need. The Palestinians, maybe they are in dire straits and in need for food and humanitarian aid, but they also need a clear condemnation to their attackers, to their colonialists. And this is not just the position of Denmark, it's a position of many European countries that are just looking at the Palestinian issue as a humanitarian problem. It is not just that. Actually, we have a colony, we have a colonial state that is Israel, we have a genocide that is taking place, and what the West have been providing so far to Israel is the political coverage and the arms and ammunition that they've been needing, with the same thing that they are only giving the Palestinians just the humanitarian profile. What we need is more of condemnation to Israel and less of just humanitarian aid, more of a political support to the Palestinian cause.
Yes. Sir, as Foreign Minister Abdel Ati said that Egypt will continue its efforts to reach a ceasefire and to end the Palestinian suffering, to what extent the two-state solution could be the only way out of this tragedy that would be touching the 12th month, almost a year, on the 7th of October, with all the genocide taking place against the Palestinian people here, how a political solution for this tragedy could be a solution still on the ground, on the table, with all the rigidity from the Israeli side?
Well, as you just mentioned, the idea, I mean, Egypt, I mean, you can see ever since the first swap of prisoners that took place right after the 7th of October and the first atrocities that were there, Egypt did not stop. And actually, I admire the Egyptian government for continuing its efforts, although it's always met by, I think, sabotage intention from the Israeli government, because it doesn't want the war to stop. And actually, this is what we've been seeing happening on the ground. I mean, Israel have rejected all initiatives, including its own initiative that were presented by President Biden. And so far, we've only seen the continuation and the escalation of the war zones, not just to the West Bank and Gaza Strip, but also into other countries as well. As we have seen, Israel trying to escalate the war into Iran and Lebanon and Syria and other places as well. So the idea now is that we do not lack any initiatives to reach a ceasefire agreement and trying to calm the situation. What we need is a political will from the Israeli side, which we haven't seen until now. The Israeli-American genocide that is taking place, and they have to call it this way, because Israel would not have been able to continue waging its war if it wasn't for the, so far, $40 billion of American aid worth of military equipment and ammunition. Israel would not have been able to continue without this American support. So that's why I'm calling it the American-Israeli war on the Palestinians. Although that there are intentions from the Americans to stop the war, but they are totally incapable, they are totally crippled by the elections that is going to take place very soon in the United States to elect a new president for a mandate of 4 years. So far, we are only seeing two candidates competing who is going to support Israel more. And we haven't heard anything about the Palestinian side. So although they have good intentions, but I don't know how they are going to execute this, since their only hope is to continue their support for the Israeli state. And this will never allow Israel to stop its genocidal war on Gaza. So as I said from the beginning, we are going still to wait for a real political power and a political will to stop the genocide. So far we haven't seen this, and I don't think that we are going to see this anytime soon.
Indeed. Sir, also Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati mentioned that Egypt is extremely affected from the violence in the Red Sea, and Egypt is the most probably affected country from this. What's your take on this? And it is indeed one of the repercussions of the Gaza war.
Well, of course, as His Excellency Minister Badr Abdel-Ati have said it, we are one of the countries that are affected the most, because the Suez Canal revenues have dramatically dropped. We are talking about almost 1/3 of the regular revenue of the Suez Canal. Having said that, I think Egypt has been very patient, because we understand the reasons behind the Houthis attack. Although we do not agree with them, but we understand why they happen. The Houthis are trying to block any ships from going into Israel and helping it more. Although there are other ways to reach Israel and to continue helping it with arms and ammunition, and even for the daily lively things that they need. Having said that, I think that His Excellency wants to say and is clear about explaining that we want peace, not just because we are looking at the Palestinian cause, but also because this is affecting our own national security. The Suez Canal security, as one of the most important, if not the most important maritime way, is affected. So we are the prime victim of this war that is taking place. So the idea of trying to convince Israel to stop its war. It's not just for the Palestinians, because we have a national security interest. And let's not forget here, we do not have and we do not enjoy a constant and continuous replacement of any missing thing like Israel is having. I mean, the West is providing Israel with all what it needs, whether they are committing genocide on the Palestinian people or they are not, which is something Egypt is not benefiting. We have to work to reach the revenues that we need, which is not the case for Israel. Israel can continue waging its war simply because it will always get the support and the replacement for any missing thing that it needs from the United States and most of NATO countries, which is not, as I said, the case with Egypt and other countries.
Indeed. Ambassador Medhat El-Meligi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador, for your very precious input. Our dear viewers, that was our special coverage for the joint press conference for Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati and his Danish counterpart.
Egypt opens up to the world. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi meets with world leaders.
أعبر لكم